Stand up, join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Casey, can we have a roll call, please?
John Guglielmo.
Here.
Tim Clark.
Here.
Taylor Boucher is not here. Audra All. Here. Sarah Bashinsky. Here. Chris Boucher.
Here.
And Ken Chester is not here.
We do have a quorum. I would like a motion to accept the agenda. Audra?
Second.
Tim? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you have any community comments, ma'am?
I do not at this time.
Anybody want to speak as long as you're here? You good? Okay, let's move right on. So we're going to do our first report. The first report is budget financing audit. So we briefly met today before the meeting, and Chris is going to give you the highlights.
Sure. So I guess I'll do this also in conjunction with our business office meeting, but we talked about fiscal health today. The students that we are actually keeping within our Fort Edward system, our Fort Edward students, there's 14 of them that potentially could have been going to other programs. It's broken down, as you see, Casey.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Chris. John,
Yes, sir.
you had a budget and finance meeting?
Yes.
Before the meeting? Who else is on the committee? I thought I would.
Well, we didn't have a real meeting because nobody else showed up at me, but
I don't think I knew about it.
We try to do it before the main meeting, so like 5:30 just before the board meeting. But we actually have a new plan of action, so it's not.
But I am on that committee, right?
Yeah.
yes, you are.
Okay.
You didn't get an email?
I got a Google.
I don't believe.
I got a
Google
Google,
calendar
Google Meet?
calendar invite.
I don't think so. But it could be just as much me screwing it up as anybody else. I just want to make sure I get that clear.
Yeah,
I just
I
want to.
think it's a standing meeting, but
Yeah.
now that we have more direction to it, we're gonna try to, I think, gear it towards.
The only
more
thing
of
we
a
really
budget
did was
planning.
talk about this.
Yeah, no worries. I just want to make sure that if there is any in the future that I can just get to them. We'll figure it out.
Yep, absolutely. So again, we kind of talked about just with the special ed program, keeping the 14 students that we could have outsourced to other school programs. It was broken down that way. So, and we kind of went by the average of 36, but some of those actually from last year's numbers was lower than or higher than 36. So that was about $504,000 that we kind of have budgeted, that we kind of saved in that aspect by having them be in our programs. Projected income for extra classrooms with special ed, we have 7 students out of district, again about 36,000 per average. They're broken down again as the 3 to 5 age bracket grades for 3 and 6 to 8 grade, there's 4 of them. So that's where the 7 students are, so we have another $252,000. So just in like sort of global savings, we have $756,000 to our budget this coming year. And then we broke it down with our current reserves. So we have $3.6 million in reserve to date, and we are still anticipating the ESSER money, emergency boiler, BOCES, general aid, excess cost aid, and smart bonds for another $2.286 million. So that's our fiscal health. We're doing really well. But again, now that we have a decent financial strength going forward, this is a way that we can also strategize to know where we want to move our school and what programs we want to look at. This will help with our budget planning and initiatives going forward. So.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything to add or? Okay. We're going to move right down to personal agreements and negotiations. That committee did not meet.
We have not met.
Sorry?
We have not met.
No. Well, I don't know if there's a reason to meet, so. Policy review,
Yeah, we have not met either.
capital project, I know I have not met with them lately. Athletic committee, I do think that we're gonna need a meeting before this season is over, just to take a look at winter basketball and get some new coaches and just kind of get that. So let's,
I can give you a quick update on some of it.
yeah, go ahead.
The boys have been in with the new JV coach. So I used to do the open gyms. I did in April and through the summer. And when the new JV coach, Jonah Horton, was hired, he's taking them over. He's doing the kids a couple nights a week. And he's got them working, he's doing drills with them. He's got a very good showing, a lot of kids coming in.
Yeah, I've heard nothing
So-
but great things.
Yeah, and there's a lot of kids, and it's in there, there's even a couple kids they've snuck in there that are, basketball kids that are a little bit younger
Yeah,
that need to be there. So
Okay.
it is, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's a good thing.
We're looking forward to a, good, healthy program, which I gotta hand it to Chris. He's done absolutely wonderful things throughout the years with Aggies team, so. Superintendent report, sir.
All right. Well, very happy to be here, everyone. And we're off to as smooth a start as I could hope for, coming in literally with just literally hours of preparation before we actually brought folks in, just by the nature of the way things worked out. And just a couple of things I'd like to share with the board that I've seen a lot of openings. And if it wasn't a good opening, I would tell you, it wasn't a good opening. And it was. It was smooth. It was efficient. It's not without its little thorns that happen, but you can't bring, 300 students and or all faculty and staff into one place all at once and not have little things that crop up. But it was evident that a lot of thoughtful planning had gone into place by a lot of different stakeholders, and that just doesn't happen by chance. So obviously, long before I ever got here, there was some real thoughtful planning from the admin team, Rich, my predecessor, faculty and staff giving their input, and it was evident on the way things opened. And those things that did crop up that need to be dealt with, they're being dealt with very quickly and efficiently because of the preparation that had gone in ahead of time. So if I thought there was some real, flies in the ointment, if you would, on how things opened up so far for our school year, I would absolutely share them with you. But I do not feel that way, and I think it's important for you folks to know that. It was a nice blend of the 2 staff days we had before our students arrived, of those mandatory have-tos that we have to do per New York State regulations, combined with some authentic professional development for our staff, with some time, valuable time that they need to also spend in their classrooms, which I thought was a nice blend as well, so that we can open our doors for our students. On opening day, my remarks centered around 3 things that I've shared with a lot of you already, but I reiterated to all of our faculty and staff's 3 cornerstones for me. The combination of time-honored practices as educators in combination with innovative programming. We can't just do what we've always done, and we can't always just assume that because it's new, it's going to work. We need to combine those things, and that's very important to me that we work together as a district to do that this coming year. But the umbrella over those 2 things, none of it matters if the right people aren't delivering it, and they gotta be all in. So we're really gonna look to stress with our faculty and staff, we're gonna support you to do what you gotta do, but we want you to be all in, regardless of what role and title you have with the school district. Whether you're cleaning after hours or you're teaching chemistry, and everybody in between, you gotta be all in on what your role is here with the school district. And as long as we know you're doing that, then we've got your back, and that's important for me. The second item was impeccable facilities. We want our community to feel proud when they drive by, when they show up and watch a great volleyball game that's going on out there. When they come to work as faculty and staff, we want the room to be in pristine condition. Our students will behave better when they're walking in a building that they feel proud of. And so it's not just the hands of a few custodians that keep it looking good. We all need to contribute to that. So when we're walking down the hallway, we see pencils and Jimmy's homework that he forgot to turn in on the floor. We need to pick that up and make sure it gets in the right place. And the last is customer service. Customer service has to be the umbrella for all of us, whether it's me out to our families, it's me to our faculty and staff, our staff to each other, our students to our teachers to our students. Customer service goes in all different kinds of directions, and that is something that needs to be unwavering for us as a school district, that we need to get back to people. We may not get back to them with the answer that they want, but we need to get back to them and give them explanation and have those hard conversations. People don't mind hearing things that they might not agree with as long as they have a chance to be heard and they're responded to. So those are things I shared with our faculty and staff that are going to be kind of my lighthouse points for this coming school year. And then if we can get those right, then a lot of the things that I know we want to tackle this year will fall into place. The next item, on September 16th, at the end of the day, we are going to be unveiling, not really unveiling, but rolling out a new website. It's not as elaborate of a process as you might think. It really comes down to the fact that the company that we had with our existing website has been bought by a new company, Final Site, and we had to switch over a few things. The main thing you're going to see that's different is the home page. All the information stays the same with maybe a little different presentation of format. So the home page is going to be a little more vibrant. It's going to have a few different icons to click on. We're going to do a little bit of a soft rollout on the evening of the 16th because we have to coincide it with our BOCES IT department to make sure that everything has synced properly, and then it will be up and running officially. Nobody needs to do anything differently when they go to log into the site. It'll just naturally take you to the new site, but I figure people should be made aware of it. We also, because we are able to do this, we did preserve, and this is from Ryan himself, we were able to preserve the financing that we had in place for our old website. With Blackboard, Final Site is allowing us to keep the same pricing schedule that we had in place. And again, the changes are not that dramatic, but I felt everybody should know about it. I had sent out a call to our families a short time ago, and I've notified our faculty and staff. The road closure on Burgoyne is worked its way down to our end, and starting tomorrow between 7 and 4, there's going to be some detours and roadblocks put up in place between 7 and 4, between Maple and Summit for their road work. The first detour will be about 3 days long, and then depending on what other work they have to do in order to do a more extensive one, basically we could be prepared for the next several weeks. It's going to be off and on depending on what their work project is for the day. Obviously, with the nature of how traffic flows through our district, it's going to have some impact on how people leave here and how mom and dad leave when they pick up their children. That's why it's good work, it's a great project, it needs to be done, we just got to work within it. Number 4, Governor Hochul has signed legislation that requires a student rep to sit on all public school boards. It has been highly promoted, recommended. Some districts have always had one for several years, some have never really tackled it, some have dabbled with it. As of July 1st of 2025, so when we reorg I sound like a golden retriever, we're all together. July 1st, when you reorg yourself, you will have to have a student rep. And so some changes have been put into the legislation, making it official. It can be any high school age student. It doesn't just have to be a senior. And they do have to have lived in the district for at least a year in order to be up for consideration. They are, of course, ex officio, which means they're non-voting, and they cannot attend special, like, for example, the finance committee and things like that. They don't have a role to sit on that. It must be a public forum meeting style that they are present for. I know you've had, if I'm not mistaken, a student rep in the past.
We have.
Wanted to just use this time to get your opinions about how you'd like to proceed for this year. If you wanted to evaluate how we want to approach students and so that it goes into effect in July. I'm willing to work with you, work with Aaron on a one-page application process. If you wanted us to screen some kids or canvas kids, recruit kids, I'm up for anything, but it's a member of your board, so I wanted to make sure I got your input on how you'd like to proceed. Thoughts?
I'm gonna sit back on this one. I'm not a huge fan of the whole idea, so of complicated issues, you know, in young kids' minds. I mean, certain topics and certain issues I get and access. I know, I guess apparently you have to do it, but I guess do it whatever way you want.
I would see which kids are interested.
Well, we could always see who's interested and kind of get a scope of ideas for moving on, you know, for the summer. We can always see if there's an interest
So,
and.
I know it was hard to find.
it was
I think Ella
difficult.
was the only one
Yeah.
who tried to do it.
So it was difficult to.
Yeah.
There are certainly detractors to it, which I thought when they were proposing that legislation, I kind of knew she was going to do it, but
Maybe we
you
need
know,
an.
the positives of it is that, you know, somebody that's interested in government or interested in politics or interested in, you know, any type of legislative body can get a little better view of how things work and why things are done within that school board. So there are positives to it. So that's one way to look at it. And they're not a voting member, obviously. They're not involved in any special meetings, specifically executive sessions they would not be in. But I think to expose a young person to really how the inner workings go, you know, a lot of kids are probably like, well, I don't know why we're doing this, you know, or I don't know why, you know, why Mrs. Russo said that. You know, this gives them an opportunity to maybe have not a voice, a voting voice, but at least an opinion. And so they can learn how this process works.
Or even bring up some things that.
You know, they can learn how the financial end works. And so I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
Could we have?
Definitely not all bad, John. I would agree with you on that. There's in a lack of, in the absence of civics, you know, I get it.
Yeah,
But
I understand where you're coming
I
from.
understand my point of view. I like to
Yeah.
keep children as long as I can.
Could we have like Peter and John, and I don't know, who's the other social studies teacher? Melissa, maybe bring it up to their students?
It's an interesting idea.
Yep, there is some value to, not that you would exclude seniors just because they're seniors, but there is some value if you're gonna do this to get a sophomore or a junior so that you can have them for 2 years to really actually become ingrained in the process. Because by the time you start the process, when you start school in September and you screen them and you bring them in and you're only meeting once a month, they're only gonna attend a few meetings anyways before they're off and running, and having possibly a sophomore or a junior, you can maybe get some time out of it. Now, even coming from larger systems, I also know that it might be tough to find some kids who are genuinely interested in wanting to sit here. I mean, even a school the size of Oswego with 4,000 kids, it was a chore to really get a group of 4 or 5 kids that would want to at least fill out the application and then maybe sit with myself and the board president to be interviewed and the high school principal. So here's the thing, July 1st, you have to have a member. So we might as well take this year to make sure we go through the process and really do some recruiting of maybe some underclassmen and see if we can get it
See
maybe.
who's interested.
Yeah, and work with our social studies teachers and maybe
They
They
might
get a
find
homework
someone.
grade for it.
That's what I'm thinking, maybe they could, get a little extra credit or something. They're sitting here.
Okay, all right, very good. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Chris?
So the audit is still expecting to be completed on time. Alan Walther, who is the president of Bonadio, is scheduled to be here October 15th to present the audit to you. Also, we have improved some process improvements within the business and just operationally, so we've actually realized we're very collaborative here, so it's not always like business office operations, it's actually this person plus this person equals operationally. So we've been able to dissect some of our rec form processes, trying to figure out why paper shortage happened, so we dissected some of that, but the good part is we have processes that we're improving here at the school because we always feel that we can always be better every day, so we're doing that as we go. And my treasurer, Ron Black, did start last week, and it's a great addition. So he's just trying to take the baton that was passed to him and get us across the finish line. So we're very excited about the new changes and going forward, so thank you.
Anybody have anything? Great job. Okay, so now we are on to Mrs. Russo.
All right. Successful opening day of school, 378 students, grades pre-K through 12. I really don't have any other data to report at this time since we're 3 days in. But in lieu of my report, I would like to recognize 2 of our TAs who, I'm going to use Ben's words, they were all in every day at Summer Academy. Really made Summer Academy what it was. So Connie Hoig, here's a great picture of Connie in the pool with the kids on the last day of the program. And
Wait, is the camera's over here?
and Susan Holshoe, who came all the way from Paris to hang out with our kids.
Thanks for making the trip.
Connie and Susan, come on up. We really appreciate that you're all in attitude and being there for our students and making Summer Academy as successful as it was.
Oh my God.
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies, both of you.
Oh, that was
Thank you very much.
That was great. Thank you. That was nice.
Thank you, guys. And that is all that I have.
That was a lot of fun.
Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you. All right, I don't have too much to share either, just, reaffirming that we did welcome back, our students. It was a great opening day, even last week. You could feel the excitement and the energy. In addition to, for our special programs, we did have 7 students come from out of district. We had a busy couple days. We had about 9 students move into the district that have IEPs over the past couple weeks. So we're excited to welcome them and support them, as best as we can. One final thing, Erin and I will be participating in our targeted skills group. It's our last meeting that we did because we were flagged as being disproportionate for having too many Caucasian students placed out of district. So we had to really look at, our initiatives that we want to engage in to try to keep students in district. So 2 things that we are looking at is the Positivity Project and then giving TCI training. Sorry.
Could you explain that about the proportion of
Yeah, I did question that.
students sent out of district?
Yes, so, so each year we have to submit, various reports, and one of them looks at student placements. So we do have, I believe, 11 students that are out of district right now because of their needs are too high for us to service in school. So, you might be looking at students that are highly autistic, nonverbal, multiple disabilities, things like that, that they go to schools like Prospect or BOCES. So we were flagged because we have too many Caucasian students that are placed
I don't
out.
understand what that means. Why are you, too many Caucasian students?
Well, is it,
Based on what?
So they do, there is a calculation that they do, so
Based
I
on
guess
our
you want
population?
10 or fewer.
no, is it
So
a
we were at 11.
percentage of, so we don't have a high percentage of other than Caucasian?
No, we
So
don't,
do they
no.
take into account
They do.
that percentage?
Yeah, so they look at our total, our rates and our classification rates. So they look at our students that are white that are classified as students that are
So
other races.
I guess I just have one question. Are you
Yeah.
telling me that kids can't get sent out to to get the services they need because of their skin color, because they're white?
That's just what they.
Is that a
you know,
fact
They
or
want
not?
to make sure, and that's the state,
I know, I'm not
that's,
saying
yeah.
it to you. This
Yeah.
seems incredibly bizarre to me.
Right,
It certainly does.
yeah.
Okay, and listen, that was nothing, I just wanted
Oh, no,
clarification
no.
on that. because
And I
heard
think,
that. It's- it's
giving
kinda
our
sickening. I
demographics-
thought the thing here was to try to get every kid the best
Yes.
services we can.
Right.
Yeah, we've been going through this for years.
Yeah,
That's shocking
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
It is, and
Mm-hmm.
it's, yeah,
Wow.
kind of contrary to what
Yeah.
you
Thank
would
you.
think it would be.
yeah, I disagree with it as well, but we're finishing that up on Wednesday, so, yeah, keep plugging around. We were so close, if it's 10 or fewer, we have 11,
Right.
so
Thank you.
just some of the motions we have to go through. That's all I have.
Great. Thank you.
Sir, would you like to do the building maintenance report?
I would love to.
Steve's birthday.
Today's Steve's birthday, and his wife wanted to take him out to dinner, so I excused him from being here this evening. Just a couple of items. Rich and I, and Steve, he briefed me on this that's the one day on Tuesday after you were appointed. The air was not flowing in the gym for a while. They discovered that the motors and the exhaust fans up in the ceiling had burned out, and those motors have been replaced and are functioning properly, or they have one done and they're working on the second one. Also, similarly related to this, the 2 new air conditioning unit heads have been replaced and put in the library, which are now working. That was major because we don't have fully air-conditioned spaces in the district yet. So those spaces that we do need are important that they function properly. And I believe that that's through Samsung, which the units that were there were not that old. And so we held them to the feet to the fire, and they covered the replacement free of charge. So that's good. And those have been completely done, fired up, tested, and they are working properly. We've taken delivery, am I correct, Chris, on a new field groomer? Have we taken
Yes, that's
delivery of
correct,
it?
we have, yes.
Apparently, there's this legendary device made with a tire and nails being dragged to rake our field. I am not familiar with it. But we're not going to do it that way any longer because we actually have a groomer that we've taken delivery of so we can properly treat in our fields. Archery net's installed, exhaust fan is going to be installed in the kitchen, and some landscape work. I do want to also add that we have a salad bar that has been delivered to the school district, but we have to work with food service and some planners on the proper installation, location for functionality, and make sure we're in requirements of distance from serving to where people are seated and those types of things. But we've taken delivery of it. We'll get our heads together ASAP, and we've got another great option for our students to enjoy at lunchtime. So I'm sure in the next month or so, we'll be able to report back on that.
Cool.
That's all I have.
Thanks.
Well, that is a perfect segue
Transition.
to our discussion items. So, could we discuss our prescribed lunch times? I think all of us had a little bit of a concern on the amount of minutes, so talk talking with the superintendent, I did a little bit of research, I'm sure not as much as you have, but the research that I did look at discussed the difference between prescribed lunch period and the actual seat time that the kids have to actually eat lunch. So that's minus standing in line, getting their lunch, and the amount of time that they actually sit down. So 20 minutes of seat time is okay, but I had found through some research that 20 minutes total time may be a little short.
I agree. I think it's way too short.
Maybe you could give us a little insight on that.
Sure. So up until this year, students had 30 minutes for lunch total, and it was broken up into, nothing's changed in the elementary schools. We're talking junior, senior high school. So it was 6, 7, 8, and then 9 through 12. 30 minutes. We also were trying to weave Positivity Project in, and it was kind of happening, I want to say, in an organized, chaotic fashion. So we had a rotation of when Positivity Project was being taught, but because it was during actual class time, we didn't have anything carved out specifically for Positivity Project. So we expanded the lunch break to 40 minutes. So students have half of it as Positivity Project, half of it as lunch. But they switch. So half of the kids are in the cafeteria during the first 20 minutes. The other half are in the cafeteria during the second 20 minutes. So although they've lost 10 minutes of cafeteria time, there's half the number of students getting through the line and eating in 10 fewer minutes. It's also, a side benefit has been that the cafeteria has been a lot calmer. We've had a lot of faculty feedback that it's
Is that the only reason why we're shortening the time is for less chaos?
No, it's to
Because
get
I
that.
honestly, I feel super strongly that it's the kids' downtime. It is their decompression time. It's the time they're allowed to use their phones. There are kids with special eating needs. If we're advertising that we have all these healthy meals for kids, why are we wanting them to inhale them? It's not healthy to sit here and rush. Kids either who bring their lunch, heat up their lunch, wait in line for lunch. That's not what we're promoting. And I don't know whose decision that was to take away from the kids' lunch, but I 100% do not agree with it.
What are the options that we have? We have to rectify this, because you guys will can of worms on this one with the lunchtime, the first day after school.
Or if a kid takes too long and then they have to go sit in another room, it's like they're being exiled because they're taking too long for lunch. Like,
Just
if
quit.
someone didn't.
As long as I can remember everything, I always hear lunch was I mean, maybe it's been different in the last, like I said, I've been off here for 10 years, but before that it was 40 minutes. And it was always.
My child
all the way
one of my
through,
children
and
bring their
then
lunch.
It might have went down to a half an hour.
And she can't
I don't know how it goes, but they do need a little time. I'm making this point for Ken. He said the same thing as Sarah. He said, that socialization, decompression, middle of the day, whatever was his point of view. I think it's a little short too.
How long is it taking them to get through the lines?
I would be happy to put a clock on that and watch that. Really, just to see, because that would be an interesting point. But again, so for example, when the 7th and 8th graders are going through the line, there's about 45 kids. So it zips through, and because the 6th graders aren't there because they're in Positivity Project at that time. Instead of before, where we had 30 minutes for all the 9th through 12th graders going through, so a little over 100 kids. Now they have 20 minutes for 50 kids to go through.
Don't they already have Positivity Project carved out in their schedule?
No.
Because I'm pretty sure I saw that in some of the schedules.
It's in the schedule now.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the schedule before, so that's what they're going to Positivity Project.
Okay.
It's in their schedule. We extended the time from 30 minutes to 40 minutes and divided that in half, 20 minutes for lunch, 20 minutes for positivity project.
Who decided on that format?
The
'Cause I
schedule
don't
change?
remember ever seeing anything run by me of who makes a decision to cut the lunchtime.
Yeah, so that was, I mean, that was my initiative, and I brought it to the superintendent, and that's not something that, apparently that's not something that needed to go in front of the board.
I disagree.
I
Okay.
think we're taking away from kids'
No.
lunches.
It's school
I have a
policy.
kid with
It's school
special-
Well,
policy. it
it's not a
absolutely is.
policy like in the policy book, so I think that's why it didn't have to go in front.
In the future, let's do that so that nobody feels blindsided.
Sure.
Not that I do, I just would like to change.
So we did
Change that.
approve policy in March, health and wellness, this is 20 minutes of in-seat time. That was like the policy services blanket statement that came out from Erie BOCES, so like 20 minutes in-seat time is the standard.
Yeah, in your seat,
across the
so what if
state.
you have a half hour, then
So
10
there's-
minutes for
there's-
mine and then 10 minutes for seat.
And that is what I found, was the 20-minute seat time.
Seat time.
So unfortunately, in New York, there's no regulation that dictates a lunch period. So it's school by school.
Right, I wouldn't want it to
So,
be.
but 20 minutes of seat time seems to be, as Tim said, the optimal amount of time for a child to sit down and have a good lunch and then move on. But if we're giving them 20 minutes, we're realistically talking about maybe 15 minutes of seat time. So if you're at the end of the line, you know, you're not getting any more than probably 15 or maybe 12 minutes to eat your lunch. So I don't know if you've been in a position in a long time to force yourself to eat in a very short amount of time.
Oh, yeah. Right, exactly.
I
I don't know what lunch
But
is.
then
I guess
what we're promoting
the whole
for
point for me
children
a lot too is kind of just like wanting the kids to be here at school.
Yes.
It's a lot of times
So-
a fight, right? And the biggest thing they're looking forward to is coming and seeing their friends and having that little bit of time in the middle of the day. Not a lot of kids, every kid has study halls or gym class at the same time, they might never see their friends, so
Sure.
having that little bit of time at lunch makes sense. You know?
So it says, and this is from, I believe, the CDC. So it says, what are the benefits of more time for lunch? The studies have shown that providing more time for lunch is associated with the following: increased consumption of food and key ingredients, increased selection of a fruit, increased consumption of fruits and vegetables, lunch, entree, and milk, and decreased plate waste. So what they, and just to paraphrase a bunch of stuff, what they had looked at was, are the kids eating all the food pyramid items that we provided them, including the milk or juice? And what they found was decreased lunchtime led to increased waste, where they were only drinking half a pint, quarter of a pint, half an apple or whatever. So they weren't eating their whole lunch. So there's a lot of benefits to having that amount of time to sit down and actually eat, socialize, decompress. And I think 20 minutes seat time is probably the appropriate amount of time.
And
But-
riding a salad bar.
20 minutes total time, I think is, in my opinion, cutting it a little short. So I think maybe one solution to this would be see how long they're actually sitting down.
Absolutely.
And if we can get with the food service team to gauge how much waste we're seeing,
Sure.
and that way you can kind of gauge if the kids are actually eating their whole lunch or not.
It's a good idea. We can definitely do some observation.
Anybody disagree with that?
I do, a little bit. I mean, I think you should change the lunchtime out of fairness. I mean, regardless of whether it turns out they have 20-minute seat time or not, kids need to be able to get down there.
Well, you know they're not
do
getting
their
20
lunch.
minutes seat time.
Well, I know they're not, yeah. they're
So I don't think we leave them at 20 minutes and then see what they come back and tell us.
Well,
So they're getting
that's
40
good.
minutes in the elementary side for lunch, correct?
But not the big
Or
kids.
30.
They get 40 minutes
They get-
and then they kind of swap back and forth with recess.
So can we do like the positivity project like during study hall?
Not everybody has a study hall, and yeah, so
Well, what are,
It's even worse.
in your opinion, what are, if we were to increase that to, let's say, 30 minutes or 40 minutes, what would a solution be as far as the positivity program goes? So I think what we have to do is balance the positivity project versus a longer, more palatable lunchtime.
So if we were to go back to, at this point, we'd have to go to a 40-minute lunch without having to redo the entire bell schedule.
Right.
So if we went to just a 40-minute lunch and didn't do the positivity project during lunch, we would then have to have teachers, like we did last year, teach it during class time. And the one thing that teachers had against that was when it was their day to teach it, if they had a test the next day, they'd have to skip positivity project because they want to review for that test that was coming up. So the junior, senior high school teachers asked that we carve out a section in the day for positivity projects so that it could be implemented with fidelity. So that they didn't have to choose between, you
But
know,
isn't
cutting.
lunchtime important too?
Well, let me ask you this, how long do teachers get for lunch?
By contract, 30 minutes.
Okay, so what's the difference then? They get 30 minutes, the kids should get 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
True. Well,
If it
anybody
takes
in
a
America
teacher
that has a
30
job who works over 6 hours
Is it 30?
is entitled to 15 minutes and a half an hour, right, by labor law.
30-minute
But
uninterrupted.
we're given 20 minutes, we're given 20 minutes of total time.
So if a teacher needs 30 minutes to decompress and have their lunch, then why wouldn't a student?
I think it's just, fair, it's just fair. Let's figure out a way to get it back to, at least a half an hour.
I mean, I think they need the time, I really do. And I understand the positivity project, and I understand the teachers' concerns with testing and everything, but I think and I'm certainly not an expert in the positivity project, but those types of things that we're doing in the positivity project can be injected throughout the class time, and I don't think it needs to be set, be nice to people as a 10-minute class. That should be something that's injected to our students every day in every class, is those characteristics of that particular week's positivity project.
Oh, 100% agree there. But with the positivity project, what we purchased is the curriculum, and it's a 12 to 15 minute lesson every day that has video and questions, and it's a daily curriculum. So you're right, where I think all of those ideas should be injected all the time and just be kind of woven into
Right.
how we talk to our kids and how we treat each other and what we do. But the actual curriculum has there's a lesson to follow each day that takes 12 to 15 minutes.
Just as an outsider and a non-educator, I would think that if we incorporate, and like you said, we do, if we incorporate those things throughout the day and throughout the class, and not have to sit there and I understand we bought the curriculum, and watch a video for 10 minutes, what are we really accomplishing? If we do it every day, every class, all classes, and give the kids an opportunity for 30 minutes a day to sit down and actually practice the positivity project while interacting with their peers and the teachers that are in there, aren't we serving the greater good?
We don't teach it integrally like you're talking about though,
I know we
Maybe
don't,
that's what
but maybe we should.
We need to
I mean,
Kind of
plan
figure
out
how
and
we
stuff.
can.
What are we doing as far as, I've looked at the positivity project a little bit here. And there's not much in there, right, that you wouldn't agree with, right?
no,
I
absolutely.
mean,
not.
it's pretty solid stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how you want to get it organized within the school day, as far as I can see, our total issue right now. But what you're saying makes a ton of sense. Moving forward, I think that is the way to go, like moving down the road.
Yeah.
How you want your school to function, teaching kids that kind of stuff within the school day. But if we can fit it in somehow now, just manipulating a 10 minutes somehow, maybe we can get it all done somehow, figure
In
it
the
out.
morning.
Yeah,
Maybe like
we can make
homeroom
them come in.
time or-
Make them come
We
in
don't have a
and do
homeroom.
10
We
minutes.
need to have a homeroom.
We gotta figure something out.
There's only so much time.
On this, I completely understand your pinch and why you put it there, but it's just,
Yeah.
It's
I
a
mean,
big
obviously,
ask.
the district, this is an initiative, and we can't put it into place, and it does seem to be genuinely supported from the folks that, in the short time I've been here, you know, by our faculty and staff. So we want to make sure we give it the right opportunity to give it a good evaluation. Are we getting out of it what we had hoped for? Completely understand and hear everything that, the concerns that are being shared. I'm going to ask if you could give us as an administrative team to go back and take this feedback and look at some options. And I'm not saying, you know, we need 6 months. I'm just saying a little bit of time to digest where we're at on it and get some feedback from faculty and staff as well, and look at some things and make a change as reasonably as possible if we know that it gets us to where we all want to be.
Okay, I'm gonna say there's a tremendous negative response in the community on this. This isn't something that, I mean, I don't even eat lunch.
Certainly heard it on
So,
the street.
listen, it's been brought to you.
Yeah, and
We'll sit the time if you want, but
and we're listening.
I like to try to
And I
put-
just
listen, I
wanna
like to
make
try to
sure
head off
I don't want to
fires
make
when I
change for the
can.
sake of making change. I want to make sure we make changes that are
Okay.
Probably just the first
that are
of many
good.
to join because of it.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm probably just the first of many that will come and support this. That's part of the reason why I'm here. It's crazy to have a 20-minute lunch. I actually had to take my 2 kids out for a dentist appointment today, and I brought Cecily, my high schooler, back at 11:20, and her lunch started then. She had to run down to grab a bag of chips to eat and then go right back up because she didn't have the extra 35 minutes. I'm pretty sure it was 45 minutes. So she didn't even have time to come back from an appointment and go eat lunch and go back to her class. So she wanted to go back and have lunch with her friends, but she had to rush. She only had time to grab a bag of chips, which is not nutritional, which is what we're saying, and then go back in. And every day she has this 20-minute block of lessons of things that people should be doing to each other every day. And I do understand that the teachers love it and they love communicating with the students over it, but it's something that needs to be implemented throughout the day, just how people treat each other. So to set a block for it is kind of taking away from, like you said, practicing it with each other. They don't have time to be around each other except for this structure, go here, go here. They need time to decompress, re-energize, I thought it was very strange that it was 20 minutes, and even that they need to have 30 minutes, because going through the line is 10 minutes, 20 minutes of the seat time, that's 20, so you're taking away all of their, not free time, but their time with their peers. And I know that it's a problem in the community. And the fact that it wasn't addressed to everybody is even more of a problem.
You got anything, Tim?
So where are we at? Are we directing the administrative team to look at it? Or doing something?
I would like them to,
something
I would
rash
like them to
or-
just as kind of think of what superintendent said, kind of
Take a look at the solutions.
go and see what you can find as for some options and solutions. It kind of as soon as possible, you know, just so
Yep.
we can get this moving and that,
I mean, I'm okay.
if nothing else, we feel good about our day.
Redoing the bell schedule, like, didn't we just redo the bell schedule? And we've only had the current bell schedule for 2 days, so we can redo it. That's fine with me.
I'm open to
We
whatever.
can't make the day longer though, right? Like by contracts?
Right.
Correct.
Right.
So.
Our
whatever
start and end
class
times are
or
the
something.
same, so
Yeah.
what we do within it is, gets,
Right.
Well, let's see what.
that's where we
see
go.
what we-
So, okay,
All right.
that's our task.
Yep.
We're clear what the expectations are, and I will report back to you as a board
Thank you.
where we are on things as soon as we have something that's viable.
Perfect.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So, we good to move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just want clarification, some sort of plan.
Did you have anything to add, Mrs. Russo? or-
Nope.
No? Okay. So, excuse me, I do need a motion to approve the previous meeting's board minutes.
Motion.
Audra, can you get a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion? Nope, let's carry that. In action items, the FIDA memorandum of agreement.
Sorry, John, did you guys all vote on that? Sorry,
Oh,
I just
I'm
missed it if
sorry,
you did.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Let me log in for the 150th time here. Yep.
Do you have a paper copy?
I do, but it doesn't have the MOA in it. Has everybody had a chance to look at this? I know we discussed it the last time. Is
Yeah, we
there
talked
anybody?
about
We have. Does anybody have anything to add, questions at all before we approve this or put it up for approval? No? I need a motion to approve the FIDA MOA. Audra, can you give a second, please? Sarah, any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
We do have a donation from Neeler Ford. And to be quite honest with you, I don't know how much it is, but it's generous. So 80 headsets and 50 backpacks filled with school supplies from Neeler Ford. I do need a motion to accept that generous gift. Chris? Sarah, any discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Neeler Ford. We
Yes.
certainly appreciate
Very
it.
nice.
Very nice.
All in favor?
Aye.
Tri-County United Way. Accept the generous donation of food, children's clothing, and toiletry items from the Tri-County United Way. Need a motion to accept that. Chris and Audra, any discussion? All in favor? Aye, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we have an addition of a teaching assistant. We brought this up as a resolution, we need to approve it or not approve it. Resolved that the Board of Education hereby creates the following positions effective September 9th, 2024, teaching assistant. Need a motion? Audra? Second is Chris. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moving to personnel, all appointments are subject to change in compensation proration pending emergency school closing, required reductions in force. All coaching appointments are made pending completion and verification of all required coaching credentials with the stipend per to feed a contract commensurate with experience and no other salary or benefits. All coaching extracurricular appointments are subject to reduction in any compensation proration pending final student enrollment numbers and pending the outcome of any potential mergers and emergency school closings. We do have a resignation of Chadwick, and she is resigning to go to another position. She does say that she enjoyed working here and would love the opportunity to come back if her thing doesn't work out at her new place. Her last day will be Thursday, September 19th. I need a motion to accept this resignation. Audra? Sarah? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item B, excuse me, is LPN. Bruno, approve the probationary appointment of Catherine Bruno as school licensed practical nurse effective September 1st, 2024, at a rate of pay of $28,000 per the FESS contract with a 26-week probationary period, with the probation period ending March 2nd. It's your birthday. Well, happy early birthday.
So how's that going? Do we have, so that's what we have in there right now? We have our
We have an
RN. First time ever, huh? How's it going, huh?
So if you're gonna get
We're like a
sick, now's
doctor's
the
office.
time.
It is amazing, and you should see how beautifully organized that nurse's office is. It's great.
That's a busy place.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great.
It
It really is.
So I'd like a motion, please, to approve this.
We have
We all
Sarah
approve.
and Chris, any
Question whether it's gonna
discussion?
go through.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, later.
All right, and approve the appointment of Antoinette Toomey as substitute school bus attendant at a rate of pay of
Are you already
$16.20 an hour as per the FES contract, pending fingerprint clearance.
Miss Coachy.
Ms. Coachy. Ms. Coachy.
So I said, I'll make the motion.
Chris, second. Sarah, any discussion? All approved, or all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
okay. And we're moving down to coaching. We're gonna go to JV football coach Douglas Johnson. So we need a motion to appoint Douglas Johnson as the JV football coach, which they had their first game tonight.
They did.
Any results?
Not that I know of.
No?
but,
You didn't get a text
Joe
or
made a couple
anything?
tackles. Cooper ran his little heart out, so.
Good.
I didn't
And
get any.
the guys have already worked with Coach Johnson
Yeah.
before this, so
Yep.
they've already have a good
Just
relationship.
kind of a formality.
Nice.
So that's effective way back on August 26th, a stipend rate of $4,080, which is scale B, year 2 as per the FIDA contract. Need a motion to approve this. Sarah, I get a second. Audra, any discussion? No, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving right along, and we expect them to have a really good season too. These kids have been working really hard. Do we have another public comment at all? No, we're good to go? All right, and I do need a motion to have fairly short executive session. Short, one item.
5 minutes.
Can I get a motion? Motion,
My
Mike?
car would be fine.
Tim, Chris, any discussion? No? All in favor? Aye. Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You too, Chris.
Did I get to go?
Look at go.
All right.
Cool. Sarah, Audra, all in favor? Aye. Jan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Double check.
Do you?
Just want to make sure we're through. Yeah, we're good.
Need a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. Audra? Sarah, any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Hour and 5, love it.
Good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Girls, good job, as always. Tim?
Sarah, nice to see you get all pumped up there, baby. Let her rip.
Like my hands felt like they were gonna shake, I was like, oh my God,
Hey,
come
if
on.
you really want to get good